Hello and welcome to another video, and welcome to what is going to be a bit of a breakdown of how I am dealing with my current goals given my current injury limitations. I've got some big intimidating goals that are scheduled to kick off in January 2026, which I will be revealing soon. Unfortunately, injury isn't getting in the way of too much. If you've seen my recent videos, you'll know that unfortunately my sub 3 hour marathon prep ended in a grade 3 stress fracture, which obviously wasn't the outcome I was looking for, but it is the outcome that I got. Which means that whilst I might be off my feet running wise, I'm gonna be off any lower body lifting work. There are some things I can focus on. First of all, being the turbo trainer. Unfortunately, it's gonna be a few more weeks before I can get out onto the actual road and cycle out there because of the impact that would go up through the road into my hip. But for the time being, this is quite comfortable. So for the next 4 to 6 weeks, whilst I'm gonna be quite limited in how aggressively I can focus on anything else, I'm gonna put a lot of effort into increasing my FTP right here on the turbo. I reckon my FTP at the moment is about 270, maybe 275, but that's gonna have to be something that we retest very soon. I'm not quite comfortable enough yet to put a lot of intensity through this leg, so that's something that I'm gonna focus on soon, but I'm just kicking off today with a very skippy chain, apparently, and just an easy hour on the turbo to get my legs used to spinning again without any pain before I ramp up the intensity from there. So pretty much all of the demand that's gonna be going through my lower body is gonna be on the turbo right here. And with the goals that I've got coming up, an increased FTP is very, very important for them. So the highest I've ever had my FTP was at 317 watts, and I weighed about 92 kilos at the time. So that's what we're looking to beat. It's not gonna happen in the next 4 to 6 weeks, but it's something I'm gonna start chipping away at slowly but surely. So for those of you that might be wondering, FTP stands for functional threshold power, and it's probably the most important metric that you can measure in assessing like this one. It essentially estimates the amount of power you can sustain for a 1 hour max effort output and allows you to establish training zones off the back of that. I'm gonna be honest, it's probably one of the most unforgiving and one of the most painful metrics to increase over time. And actually for me, as somebody who's dabbled a lot in lots of different sports, the one where at a pro level, their numbers are the most unfathomable to me. Not even just in terms of watts per kilos, but in terms of just outright FTP numbers. It's crazy. So to increase mine, like with any sort of progressive training for cardiovascular work, I'm gonna have a variety of different intensity levels across the week, using a variety of different zones and training styles to achieve an increased FTP. For the time being, that's all gonna be indoors, but it's something that I can chip away at once I'm back outdoors as well. Before I break down the 2 other main goals that I'm gonna be focusing on whilst in this limbo recovery period, I think it's important to highlight how important psychologically hybrid training has become for me in this current situation, because whilst I've got a stress fracture in my hip and running's been ripped right away from me quite quickly, ultimately I'm dealing with it quite well for the time being anyway. Touch. I don't have any wood. This is a carbon bike. Touch carbon. There we go. Because I've been looking forward to getting back on the bike, getting back in the pool for a while now, and whilst running's been taken away from me, thankfully, that isn't the only discipline that I like to focus on. Through hybrid training, through a variety of different disciplines, through exposing myself to a wide range of the training spectrum, I can dip in and out of different things. And I think that's one of the biggest unspoken benefits of training this way, is that when you do have a bit of a downturn or an injury that you need to manage, you can pivot quite quickly and translate that routine, that intensity, that focus into something else so that you get the same psychological reward and without falling into the trap of having a single discipline become your entire personality or way of measuring your self-worth, which is something that I've experienced in the past with rugby, with lifting, and is quite a negative and dangerous place to be up here. So whilst I'm obviously not thrilled to be stuck indoors on a static bike rather than outdoors as the weather's starting to improve in Scotland, which means that we get about 3 days of that per year, I am very excited that I'm not bedbound, I'm not confined to a single discipline where I'm having to pick something up from scratch, and I can translate that excitement, that goal setting, that reward, that value that I've been experiencing recently from running into something else. So that's the first short-term goal, is increase my FTP on the bike. I'll be recording an FTP test soon as I can put a bit more intensity through this leg, but that is the first short-term goal I'm going to be focusing on. Let's talk about the next.
I was recently over in Portugal for a stag do, which I was dreading, to be honest, because this will be the second time in 2025 I've had a sip of alcohol, but I was, looking forward to catching up with some friends from London. But whilst I'm in any new location, I will always go looking for the best gym that I possibly can, because I really like reconnecting with the teenage version of myself, where my only real focus was my RuneScape combat levels, Modern Warfare 2, being jacked, being tanned, and lifting weights in cool places whilst watching YouTube fitness accounts doing the very same. And I am now living that as I'm showing you a upper body lifting montage, because upper body training is one of the things that I can still focus on. And I'm enjoying it. My shoulder is still a little bit unpredictable because I've had some issues with it. Volume's been high, getting back swimming again. But the bottom line is that I'm really excited that I can continue to pursue some lifting goals in my upper body. My bench is in a really good place at the moment, but for the most part, I'm just really wanting to maintain or build as much strength as I can in push and pull movements. Main movements for me are going to be bench press, dumbbell seated overhead press, and a few rowing variations. But in terms of short-term goals with my upper body training, I'd love to hit a 150 bench. As you can probably already tell from the footage earlier, I didn't manage that today, even though 140 flew up. But the only hard and fast goal I'm setting for myself is going to be a 150 bench. Potentially, it will be a stretch because it's going to be tough. Other than that, I'm looking to just get a little bit leaner and a bit more jacked in my upper body whilst I don't have so much of a strength requirement with my training. So a little bit less body weight, a little bit less body fat, getting a bit leaner. This is the time to do it. So that's it. I'm not going to be too hard and fast about my goals with this one. I'd love a 150 bench, but the main focus is just enjoying being in the gym, spending time in cool places with cool people, and reconnecting with that teenage version of myself without the pressure of you should maybe get onto the treadmill or get out for a run because there's a marathon looming, big boy. The dumbbells are calling and I will respond. A huge focus at the moment is this place, the business, a growing team, and a huge amount going on. There is loads that I can get my teeth stuck into and a whole load of exciting stuff happening. We've recently had a rebrand, we've recently had a new website launch, we've had 4 new team members start with us. It's been absolute chaos, but I have loved every minute of it. And honestly, is probably a huge part of why I'm not taking this injury too badly. I think what's really, really exciting is that as the team is developed, I can start to focus a little bit more on the things that I'm actually good at and most sort of valuably contribute to, rather than just having to do everything operationally, being pulled pillar to post for the past couple of years, which means that YouTube is going to become a real creative output for me. And whilst we've still maintained a video every week as we've gone, I will be honest that a lot of the videos we've been filming are the videos that we can film rather than the ones in the black book that I personally believe we should be filming. So I'm excited to really unlock that creative part of my brain again as the incredible team that we've got get up and running. So if you are interested in seeing what all that's looking, link is in the description down below. A whole new version of Omnia. We've got hats and apparel available as well. We've got 3 membership model tiers, and is this video going out in June? I think it is. If you get signed up to silver or gold by the end of June, you automatically enter yourself into a draw to join us for free, other than your travel costs, in the Scottish Highlands at the end of September with other people that are on silver or gold. It is exclusively for active Omnia members, and we would love to share that experience with you. But I think all in all, there's going to be a little bit more of a business focus for me at the moment, a little bit more of a content focus as the training demand is a little bit lower. In terms of binary goals, I don't really have any. We've got KPIs as a business, we've got targets and things like that. I mean, if you're interested, I can break those down in a bit more detail, but yeah, let me know in the comments. Not really something I'd think about doing, but open to it if you're keen. So good news, I'm coming to the end of 2 swims this week where my hip is only giving me pain if I breathe on one side only. If I breathe bilaterally, no pain, and I've done 2 sessions. I've done 10 by 100 at a moderate effort, and then a 500 meters easy, and I've done 1500 meters steady at 150 per 100 meters pace. So I'm feeling really comfortable. Definitely feel like there's a bit of rustiness I want to push through, but I can get back in the pool and I can start building from here. Having spoken to the physio and orthopedic consultant, I can start getting into open water with buoyancy, so with a wetsuit or buoyancy shorts at the very least, with caution, to pull buoy, all that sort of stuff, not pull buoy, sorry, toe float, all that sort of stuff quite soon. But yeah, I want to build cautiously with that. But what's exciting is I can build with my swimming, which is a discipline I've put to one side in place of running for a while. So I'll be filming a CSS test soon. And again, I'm not setting binary goals for that. I just want to see where I am to start moving things forward. I don't want to be too binary or specific in my goals for the first time in a while, because I just want to enjoy the process of moving things forwards and having training as a part of my routine that supports my day to day. Marathon prep, huge amounts happening with the business in the background. It's been a big start to the year with a lot of real binary metrics, focus points, measurable elements, and I just feel like for the next 4 to 6 weeks at least, I will benefit from just enjoying the process of trying to move things forwards predictably week to week. So what I'll do in a video very soon is I'm going to break down exactly what I expect the next 6 weeks to look like in terms of optimizing my training. This Monday coming is the first week that I'm going to start experimenting with some structure to see how things move forwards, and that is on an upper body focus. So I'm going to determine which movements are the most important to me. It's going to be swimming development, so I'm going to try and focus on how much volume and intensity I'm working in and see how I respond. And then it's going to be time on the turbo trainer back there, trying to get my FTP up But again, without setting a specific number, I just want to see the curve going that way. And then again, if you are interested in a bit more behind the scenes side of things with the business, then let me know in the comments down below, as I'm happy to incorporate more of that day to day. But that is really that. Those are the goals I am setting myself whilst I am injured. I don't feel too inhibited by this injury mentally, which is nice. And I feel like that's been lots of iterations of peaks and troughs over the years that have put me in this position. But I am just so pleased that I have chosen hybrid training as my method of training, because it means that I can so quickly pivot into something else and get that same stimulation, that same reward, that same value that I had from the running. Lower body lifting, being off the table for a while, means my personality is at stake, because my short femur low bar back squats are kind of all that I really had, to be honest, as in terms of actual decent ability. I was very much looking forward to going back over to Iceland to give the Husafell stone a go, but the stone isn't going anywhere. It's not getting any heavier. If anything, it might get a couple of grams lighter as erosion takes place. But for the time being, my goals are enjoyment, forward motion, supporting the team here as best I can, and making the best YouTube content that I possibly can as I move things forwards. That is it. I don't want to put too much pressure on it. I will map out my training in a video very soon, but that is that. Thank you very much for watching, and I will see you next time.